Shaped Shaker Cards. They are brilliant. They are really, they're designed to do everything you need them to do to create the perfect shaker. So we've got our Cheers to You, which is our lovely sort of mason style jar, and you've got all the little elements to do your tags, your straws, all your little bits, and your shaker elements. We've got our Born to Bloom, which is our beautiful floral shaker card, and again, still with all the elements. You've got your perfume bottle, which we call Eau de Parfum, which is such a sweet one. And the final one of the shaker cards is Hello Beautiful, which is our gorgeous butterfly, and again with all the elements. Now we've added into this our Jewel of Love. Now this is a really clever die. Look at that, one die, and it's going to cut you 40 or 50 little heart-shaped sequins. Isn't that perfect? Our Gem's going to tell you a bit more about all of these and how they work.
Right, so I chose the Eau de Parfum from those shaped shaker cards there. So we're going to have a go at doing these. Now you can actually make these as a card, or you can make them as a freestanding element, or you can make them as a topper to go on a card. So lots of different ways to use them. What I've actually done is I've made mine, I've put my little one together here. It is so, so cute. And I've got my little shaker pieces in here, which I'm going to show you how we've arrived at those. But what I've done is, inside here, I'd got the little tassel in my drawer, so I thought, oh, I'll just pop that on. So this goes around the top here, and I've actually popped a little Velcro closure on here, because what I've done is pop a little tiny box inside, and you can just see in let me get it the right way for you, in there I've made a little box to go between the two sides to make it into sort of more of like a little gift element. And it's only very diddy, so you know, maybe a couple of little chocolates in there or something like that, but I just thought it was just something a wee bit different. So I'm going to show you how I've made this and how to put it together, and how you can make your own shaker pieces if you don't have the sequins and things like that. So everything that I've done here, apart from the addition of the cardstock, is from the die set, including the little elements at the top and the tag with the sentiment. I've just added my own little tassel on there. There is one in the set which I'll show you, but I just remembered having these in the drawer, and I thought, oh, it just adds that little bit of something. So that's what we're aiming for. So we're going to use that Eau de Parfum set, and in there you're going to get a set of dies which is going to enable you to create that sort of shaped element, and then you've got dies in there that actually do extra sort of features, and I'll go through those as we use them. And then together with that, you've got your little set of stamps in each one that echo the theme. So you can see here where I got the top element of the bottle there, and the little squeezer element, the little air bit where it sort of pumps through. And then this one is actually, I've stamped this one out. This is where I started with when I did the tassel. And then I thought, oh, actually, I have got some real ones. So I'm going to use this one on the demo, but I've got that real tassel on there. And then again, you've got sentiments in there as well. So we're going to use all that together. And the first thing I'm going to do is just cut one of the shapes. So you've got an outline die, and then you've got your sort of middle part to it as well. So what this is going to do is cut you that sort of frame shape. So we're going to create what I've done here in the gold glitter card, but I'm going to cut one in plain white cardstock because I need that to fit in with what I'm doing. So I'm just going to show you how to pop them together. I've got a piece of the multi-purpose card again. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of tape, because what I want to do is pop these together. Now, two straight edges are going to go together at the bottom, and then you'll find that if you position this in here, you just want to have about an equal proportion going round the edge here. So around here, I'm just eyeballing. It wants to be about an equal space all the way through. So once you're happy with it, and I do get very pedantic about this, I need to sort of, right, there we go. I'm just going to stick the two dies together, okay? So make sure that they're not going to move. I'm still not got that in the right place now. It's wriggled, rare. Tell you what, let me do it on here for a second. So yeah, just place them so that you've got about the same, that's better. And then I'm going to stick the bottom piece as well, and then we can pop it on our piece of card. So I'm going to cut that out of white cardstock. We'll just pass that through the machine. Again, thin metal dies, so they will go through your Gemini. This one will go through the Junior. You could use it through your MIDI if you so wished, or if you've got the larger Gemini, then obviously you've got that plate capacity to cope with that one. So we're going to pass that through. And I've done this several times for this particular design. With it being like a little gift box, I wanted to build up some strength in that sort of outside frame layer. So I'll talk you through what I've done when we've got this one out. You can see that it's actually cut 2 sections. So we've got that inner bit, which is actually spare in this case. I don't actually need that bit. The piece that I want is actually this element here. So just to take that out gently, and you can see now that this matches that frame for the front of it. So you can cut this in whatever card you like. So what I've done is I've done exactly that, and I've done it in the gold mirror card. So just the addition of my metal shim. Whenever I'm cutting glitter card, I always cut it onto the metal shim just to break that sort of coating. And what I'm going to do is just stick these two together to give it a little bit more rigidity so that we can use it as the sides of a box. So a little bit of the tacky glue there. You can use your tape runner if you so wish, but I just want to make sure we've got a nice good stick round there, and literally because they've been die cut, we know that they're just going to sit nicely on top of each other in the same space. So just line them up and get those sort of, and it just gives it a bit more stability. Okay, and then I've done exactly the same as that, but this time instead of sticking the two straight together, I've actually incorporated a little piece of acetate in this one as well, so you can just see where that's catching the light there. So I've got the two pieces again. I've got the gold one at the front, and then I cut just the outside element. So I've just cut the large one here in the acetate, and I've trapped that between the gold frame and the white frame on the back. So it's got that piece of acetate trapped in the middle. That's going to be the front where we're going to pop those little shaker pieces inside. And then obviously I wanted kind of a backdrop. So I've used this die again on its own, and I've cut a couple of pieces which I've stuck some of the vellum to. Now you can use vellum from any of the collections. I just happen to have my Daisy collection out on my desk, but we've also had vellum in the Say It With Flowers collection that we had on the show if you were watching earlier this morning. And a lot of the recent Sarah Signature collections have got the vellum inside. If you don't have vellum, you could use a pattern paper. If you don't have anything suitable, you could make your own background with the inks and things like that. So lots of different ways of doing that. So what I've got is I've got one for the front, which is going to go behind here, but what I want to do is pop some foam tape in this one to give me room to put the shaker elements in, and then I've got one that's going to go for the back of the bag. So you can see that there is a little bit of vellum behind this one, and then on the back I've just got the vellum shown with. I didn't put the acetate in this one. This is actually the vellum in the middle, which is should be okay like that. So I can stick this one down and get that one ready, and then we just need to pop some foam tape and build those shaker pieces. So again, I'm going to use the tacky glue. If you prefer to use a red line tape, you could do that. The tape bends round nicely around the edges of the curves, but I'm just going to go with the tacky glue, and again line these up and just stick them together. So it's just building up that strength. So I've now actually got 3 layers of cardstock. I've got the one on the back, and then I've got my 2 layers of the frame. So it's actually quite a decent strength now to be using as the side of a box. So we'll leave that one to dry for a second, and then I'm going to come back to this one. So I've actually got my foam tape, which I think we've also popped on the website for you. And all I'm going to do is pop round the inside of here and just make sure that everywhere you pop in the tape, it meets together perfectly, because you don't want any of those little shaker pieces to escape. So again, you'll be able to curve it round and make sure that it's sealed all the way around. So I've just put a piece across the bottom, and then I'm going to take this piece all the way around that curved edge. Here we go. And then make sure that when I take it to the bottom here, that it's pushed right up against that first piece that I pressed down. So that's now nice and secure. And then I'm just going to put a little piece, if I remember, yeah, just across the top here. Okay, like so. Ooh, sticky. So that one's ready to receive the shaker pieces. So we've got our back piece ready. We've got this one's going to go on here to create the front with the shaker elements inside. Now I think if I remember rightly, I took the top off here because we don't actually need that piece. It's going to be sort of hidden behind here. Okay. So to come to the shaker pieces then, I've actually got that jewel of love, and these are just ingenious, absolutely ingenious. If you're running low on things like sequins or bits that you put in your shakers, you can make your own. So I've just got a scrap of the gold satin card. I'm going to pop this on here, pass it through the machine, and we're going to get loads and loads of little shaker pieces to go inside. Now in your die, there's also elements that are a different shape in each set. So if you buy, you know, a collection of these, you've got lots of little ones. And again, I'm just going to pop this on some of the turquoise because I had a little bit of blue in the vellum. I'm going to pop that in as well. So back with the plates, pop those on there. And then pass these through, you know, and you could always do these, you know, whenever you've got, it's a great way of dealing with your scraps. If you've got bits of scrap card, pop them through and just keep them all in a little pot ready. And you've got your own sort of shaker collection going on there. I just think it's a really clever way of getting bits to go into the shaker elements. So we've got those lovely little blue ones there. You can see those nice little flowers in this one. So I just need to take those off there. I've got one missing, one's hiding, it's there. They're still in my die. There we go. And then also we've got, look at these. It's like Christmas. So again, loads and loads of them, you know, and you can cut these as many times as you want. You've got always got a supply. And I mean, I wouldn't be getting rid of this bit either. You know, you've got your own sort of ready-made stencil there if you wanted to incorporate that into the design as well. Or it's almost like what we used to call the sequin waist. So yeah, I'd be hanging on to that bit as well. So I've now got all these little pieces that we can pop inside here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work onto here on this instance. And then we're going to literally pop this one onto the back to enclose them. So I need to take off my tape, my liner off the tape. Just pop that carefully. Even though we've curved it round, you can see how easy that comes away. And then we've got a bit here at the bottom. Do that one. I'll get that one off ready as well. And then what I'm going to do, obviously, this is the front now. I've got it face down. So I actually need to pop my pieces in here, sort of face down. So now then at home I had my little sticky tool and I don't think I've brought it with me. So I'm just going to grab a few of these. We don't need to put loads. I think I put too many in the original sample. I got a bit giddy and I had all these lovely little pieces and I thought, right, we'll stick them all in, and I think there's a few too many. The risk of putting too many in means that they're not going to move around as much. And again, it depends, you know, what you're looking for. There's no right or wrong with it as to how many you put in. But if you do fill it too much, they won't move about quite as much inside. So again, I'm just going to pop some of those in, as many as you wish. And then I would keep all the others in a little pot to use on another occasion. And then I'm also going to pop these little blue pieces in as well, which are actually double-sided, but Jan's OCD says that they have to go in the right way because it was a scrap of linen card, and under a microscope you'd be able to tell that the linen side was facing the right way. So honestly,
I was just about to say, Jan, if you've got double-sided cards, it might make it easier.
it might. I did think about that when I did the gold, but I thought if I stick 2 layers together, it might make it a bit bulky. Now, I always add what I call my insurance policy when I'm making a shaker card. Although we've got all the tape on there, I'm also just going to run round the tape with a little bit of my tacky glue as well, just to make sure that we've got a really nice seal. And I always do this with shakers because the last thing you want is for that to come apart and all those little pieces fly out. So once we've got those inside and we're happy with that, we can literally line this up now. So I'm just looking over the top of it, line it up with what's underneath, and then leave that one. Let the glue cure for a second or two before you risk. The temptation is to pick it up and shake it all about. But just leave that one for a second. And then what I did, I actually measured the bottom edge of the box. So I had a look at that against my ruler, and we were looking at 2.5 inches across this edge here. So all I've done is taken a piece of cardstock and I measured the 2.5 inches for my box, which is this part sort of here. Yep. And then I've added 1.25 inches all the way round. So my box is going to be 1.25 inches deep. All right, so I've just literally ended up with a piece. For this particular design, it was 5 inches by 3.5, and then I've scored on my scoreboard all 4 sides at 1.25 inches. Now, obviously, depending on the style that you're doing, that may differ, but for this particular one, that worked out. I sort of did a little trial run, and then I've just used a scrap of that vellum in the base of the box just to sort of link it all in together. And then normally, we'd sort of put our tape here to fasten it onto the inside to make a nice neat corner on a box. But because this is the bit that we're going to see, I want to fasten these around the outside, which is why I've got my tape on that other side here, so that we've got a nice clean finish inside. So all I'm going to do then is take that tape off here. And again, if you're using a wet glue, on this occasion, you know, you've got your tacky glue. I know some people like to use a wet glue and then just clip the sides of the box. You can use your tape runner. It's perfectly strong enough tape to actually do the job. I rely on my red line tape a bit too much, I think. I use it for lots of things. So again, these are just going to go around the outside of the side. So I'm literally going to make a nice corner and just wrap that one round the edge here. Okay, so this bit's optional. You know, you might be making your shaker element to go on the front of a card. You might want to actually make it, you know, as a set topper. So if obviously making the little gift box just sort of added an extra visual to it. So you can just see there, we've got that nice little, tiny little box just to fit a couple of chockies in there. And then I'm just going to make sure that that's all sealed well with my bone folder. And this is now just the right size for this to cover the base here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with that red line tape, and I'm just going to pop a couple of pieces across here, and the same on the other side. And by the time we've got that ready, that piece should have dried for the shaker element. So again, on here, and the same on the other side. We've got some very low flying aircrafts here in Aycliffe today. I don't know whether any of you guys can hear that on the monitors there, but I don't know what's going off out there. That's about the 3rd one I've heard today. So again, give that a nice press, make sure that all those little air bubbles have gone out of the tape, and then we can take this away. And then I'm going to pop the back one on first, which is the plain one. Okay, and again, all I'm going to do is line up that bottom edge with the base of the box there and stick that. So we've got a nice flush edge here, and then stick that one in and just give it a little press down. And then we can do the same on the other side, and that one's ready to receive the front, which has got those nice little shaker pieces in. So that should have started to cure now, and you can see here, probably could have done with a few more in there, but you get the idea with it there. And we're going to do the same again here. I'm just going to line that up with the base of the box. Okay, and then when you're happy with it, I usually just give it a little press with my bone folder to make sure that that glue's all stuck down nicely. So you can see now how we get in that little box inside, and then we've got the means here to start and pop it together. So on your stamp set then, for the sort of accessory pieces, we've got the little sort of spritzer bit here. And all I've done is stamp these onto card and then just popped a bit of colour on with my alcohol markers. We've got the little, is it the atomizer, that bit, the squeezy bit?
Atomizer.
Oh, our George is on it, he knew. There we go. And then you've got the little tassel there. And then also in the metal work, you've got this piece which cuts out a gorgeous little tag shape here. And I've just chose the Celebrating Style from this one to stamp on it. We've also got Eau de Parfum, Birthday Girl, Love and Thank You on there as well. So those are going to be my sort of accessories. Pop that one there. So again, with that tacky glue, because I'm going on to the glitter card, the tacky glue I found works really well. And that one's going to line up with that front section like so. Just let that one sit on there. Now I did this at home. What I need to remember is to stick this one in as well before. And I've cut it again, this one. You actually get the die for this piece here. So I've just cut it out of the gold to back it so that we've got a little bit front and back there. But I do want to trap that bit behind here. So that lines up with the little hole at the front here. So you've got that sort of element there. And then this one, I'm just going to pop on the front of it. And I've just realised that I didn't bring my little Velcro dots, but I'll show you the original one that I did again. I'm going to pop this one right on the front here. And then again, I'll just use the little paper tassel on this one under there. And then the only thing that I added to the other one was the little Velcro dot just to hold this together. So that's where we've got to. Whoops-a-daisy. Let me just get that one back on there. He's decided to jump off. And then if I bring in the one that I did at home, we've got pretty much the same thing. I just found that nice little tassel that's hiding just on there. And I've got a few more shaker pieces in that one. And then I think I added just a couple of little gems in the edge of the tag there as well, just to coordinate with it. So yeah, and I love the idea that you can make, it was that making your own shaker pieces, I just think was absolutely brilliant.
Thank you, Jan. That was absolutely gorgeous. Now, the other shapes you're going to get is the Live Life in Bloom. I think that's the right word. So you've got the flower. And if you wanted to, you could not only make a regular shaker, you could make a double easel. You could make a card that is shaped like the shape of the shaker. Wow, there's a lot of words there. Or you can use it as a topper for the front of your card. But however you want to use them, these shaped shaker cards are an absolute perfect addition to your crafty stash.